Today I'm creating a mixed media canvas and I'm working on a Loxley canvas board which is 8 by 10. To begin with, I'm coating it with a layer of gesso and I'm going to follow this with a layer of golden absorbent ground, and the reason for this is because I'm using Pastels primarily, and they recommend that you do coat the canvas with gesso before you actually add the absorbent ground. The first pastel colour that I've chosen is magenta, and I'm applying this onto the canvas once the absorbent ground has dried. And the tools I'm using are the Pastel soft tools. I use a variety of these throughout, and I find them the easiest to work with. The second colour I've chosen is the permanent red, and again working with the Pastel soft tools, I'm now defining the shapes and making the colours bolder and more intense. Once I've done this, I select several more colours and apply it in the same manner. This is Spectrafix, which is a fixative for pastels, and I spray this several times throughout the project. Every time I want to apply additional pastel, but I don't want it to interfere with the layers below it. So you can keep spraying it, leave it to dry for a few minutes, and then go back and add additional layers. Obviously the layers that I'm working on now are the background, so I'm not layering on top of the pastel that was laid down to begin with, I'm layering next to it. But obviously the Spectrafix is still necessary to prevent the colours on the hearts from contaminating the background. I might add also that Spectrafix is a non-toxic fixative, so it's perfectly safe to use indoors. Now I'm going to add some rubber stamping to the canvas, and I've selected a text stamp which is quite bold because it needs to go over a textured surface, and I'm also using Archival ink in aquamarine. This is a second stamp by Designs by Rin, and I'm using this firstly with Archival Blue Violet and then also with Archival Manganese Blue. Next, I want to add some highlights to the hearts, so I've chosen the titanium white pan pastel, and again I'm using the pan pastel soft tools. They do come in quite a large variety of shapes and sizes, so it makes the application of colour very easy. Now I'm using a third stamp on the project. This is a flourish stamp by Crafty Individuals, and I've chosen deep purple archival ink for this one because it's a much bolder colour, so this particular stamping is going to be more in the foreground, whereas the lighter colours stamped previously will be sent further into the background. When I feel I'm finished with the stamping and the pan pastels, I'm using the violet pan pastel just to finish off the colour by adding a border all the way around the edges. It's really important, I think, to make sure that canvases are finished properly and that you don't have any white edges on there, because to me it just doesn't look finished. This is a Crafters Workshop stencil called Mini Art Is, and I'm going to use this to add some texture to the canvas. I've selected modelling paste by Prima, and I wasn't sure exactly where I wanted the texture paste, so I tried it out on acetate first, and that enables you to hold it over the canvas and see what it's going to look like before you actually commit yourself to the paste on the project. And this one I really like. I've used both the light paste by Prima and the modelling paste, and this one would definitely be my preference. So if you were looking to invest in one of those, I would say the light paste is good. It dries pretty fast, but it's thinner, and in my experience it's more likely to seep under your stencils. whereas the modelling paste takes a little longer to dry, but it is a thicker consistency, and I find it applies better and gives you more crisp images, certainly when used with a stencil. Now, as a final touch on the canvas, I've just taken some titanium white fluid acrylic by Golden, and I've just splattered it onto the canvas in several places, just to add a little bit more interest, and it's an effect that I like. That is all for today's project. It was quite a quick one today. I really hope you enjoyed watching. As usual, there will be a link to the full product list in the video description, and there you will also find my social media links.